in other words. Okay, so based on the counter only we make sure, okay, check the condition and let it follow this. Okay, if this counter was not there, we will be in trouble, because num is first time 0. Is it less than 5? Yes, you show 25. Let's assume only this statement is there. You come back here again, still num is 0, less than 25. Yes, 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 yes. This will keep on repeating over and over again, and never ending, because num will never ever become 5. We are always 0, since we don't have this line. That is, if we don't have this line. Okay, since this line was there only, the num variable kept on incrementing until 5, and therefore we utilize that job to show the 25 5 times. Suppose it was the, if we wanted to show the word computer 25 times, within quotes we could have given computer here. That is, now in this case, this is a 25 is a numeric constant, remember. So we can put double quotes and put the word computer. That will be alphanumeric constant. So the word computer will have come here 5 times if you use the same program, just replacing 25 to double quotes and computer within that. So that instead of 25, it would have printed computer, 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 computer 5 times. Okay, so just try to go through this and make sure you understand this. Okay, if there is some problem, let me know. Now let's go through something slightly different program. Now this time, the earlier we printed just 25 5 times, right? Now this program we want to display the numbers 1 2 3 4 5. So what we are going to do, you will see. Okay, almost the same type of a thing, right? That's a condition. This is the loop, right? Loop comes up to this point. So here also we have 2. Now in this time, now instead of saying 25 like in our previous example, I have used the variable num. And as you saw in our previous exercise, when we dry ran, num kept on going from 1 to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It kept on getting numbers now. And also I have initialized it to 1 here. Earlier we initialized it to 0. Okay, so I want to print that value, the contents of the num. So let's see. So that is how I'm going to do this job. Write a program to display 1 to 5. I want to print 1 2 3 4 5 on the screen, right? So we have the screen and the num variable, right? So let's dry run. You start. Okay, let's start. Put 1 in the num. So num is now 1. Now, right, then you go to the condition. Remember loop, you check it. Is num less than 6? Yes. So you go to the next line. Now here we are saying, instead of saying show 25 or any particular thing, it's just saying show the variable num. So when you give the name of the variable, this is not within double quotes. No, if it is double quotes, then it would have been a numeric alphanumeric constant. But this is not double quotes, so it's a variable, right? So this variable is this. So what is the contents of that one? So when you say show num, 1 is shown, as you have already seen in the previous decision. Also you did this variable. Then we go to the next line, and here num is currently 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. We write back to num. So num, this goes off and it becomes 2, right? So we are in the last line of the loop. Again you go back to the condition and then check, is it less than 6? Yes, still 2. No, 2 is less than 6. So you go here. Now show num. Now this num is 2. Therefore when you say show num, 2 will get displayed. Then you go to the next line, increment num by 1. Num is 2 right now. 2 plus 1 is 3. You write back 3 here. So it goes off and this becomes 3. Then this is the last line of the loop. Again you go back to the condition. Check again. Is it less than 6? Yes. Still less than 6. So go to num. Now num is 3. Right? Num is 3. Here. Num variable is 3. So when you say show num, that's what's going to come here. Then you go to the next line. Increment num by 1. So this is becoming 4, right? That's the last line. Again you go back to the condition, check it. Is it less than 6? Yes, still less. Go to num, show num. Num now is 4, so 4 gets displayed. Then you go to the next line, increment num by 1. So 4 becomes 5, right? And then this is the last line. So again you go back to the condition, right? Is it less than 6? Yes, 5 is less than 6. Again go into the loop, show num. Num is 5. right? Then go to the next line, increment num by 1, so this will become 6. So last line, again go back to the condition, check, is it less than 6? No, it's equal to 6. So this condition is now false. So what happens in a loop when it is false? Comes out of the loop to the next line. So in this case, next line happens to be the end. So you come to the end and end of the diagram. See, write a program to display 1 to 5, so you display. Now suppose I want to print 1 to 10, looking at this pattern, I can say if I change this 6 to 11, it should have printed 6, 7, 8 also. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If I change this to 101, it would have printed 1 to 100. If I said 1001, it would have printed up to 1000. Why 1? Because when we put 6 here, it's printing up to 5. So obviously when we put 11, it should print up to 10. You can dry run and see this. Check that. Okay. Right. So this is another example of how the loop works. Now let's look at nested loop and how that works. Nested loop means we have one loop inside another loop, and like that, inside that loop you can have another loop and another loop inside that. So the loops that you write inside a outer loop is called a nested loop. So you can keep on nesting any number of times like that. So let's see just one single nesting example. Okay, so here I will just write any rough program and or flowchart, and I will dry run and show you how this nested loop works. Right now, I have named a variable called OVAR, O for outer. Okay, remember O for outer variable. I just named it. I can have it X, Y, Z even, but to be more meaningful, I just put O variable, OVAR. Right, I'm assigning one to that. Then this is my loop. So whatever just we had looked at, and you will write a condition here, and in this case I am putting O variable, that is this variable, less than 4, do the loop. Then after coming here again, check the condition, is it less, still do the loop. That's how the loop works now. Or whatever that you write here, all are executed until this last line here, and then again go back and check the condition. Okay, after doing the last line, you will never come out automatically. Always at the end of the line in a loop, you have to go back to the top, check the condition. If the condition is false, only you come out. If the condition is true, you just again do the loop, whatever inside the loop. Okay, right. So here I am creating another variable called I variable, that is for inner variable, inner, and this is the outer loop, inner loop. The inner loop is a nested loop. Okay, I just want to show you, so I use that name. Okay, just bear with me for the moment. O variable is outer variable, I variable or IVAR is the inner variable. I am assigning 1. So this is the outer variables condition in the outer loop. Okay, this is the outer loop. Now I still haven't written an inner loop. If I am writing in a loop, I have to write it inside this. Then only it becomes nested. It is nested inside this particular outer loop. I will write the next loop inside here. So you will see that. Okay. So this is the outer loops, outer while while loops condition. Here we are writing another loop. Okay, I will bring this and put it here and show you. So this, as you know, is a loop now. So here in the loop I am checking some weird thing, IVAR less than or equal to OVAR. If this is true, it will do whatever happens to be here, and when it comes to the end of it, again it goes back to this, check the condition, true, do this. True, as long as this is true, keep on doing every time. The moment this becomes false, it come out of this to the next line. So now let's see, we'll put something. Okay, I'm just saying show IVAR, and IVAR equals IVAR. So increment IVAR by 1. So basically in this loop, at the moment in this loop, I have only one command, IVAR assign 1 to that. In this loop, I have, this is the condition, I have only 2 commands, show IVAR and IVAR assign IVAR plus 1. So these are the 2 commands inside this loop. Okay, so this is going to be my inner loop, because I'm going to take this entire thing and put it here and show you. Okay, so after I put this here only, actually this will become the outer loop and this will become the inner loop. So let's see. Okay, and this is the inner loop's condition. See, loop, this is the loop, this is what needs to be repeated. Okay, I'm taking it up. Okay, I'm going to put it there. See, okay, and in this space, now this space actually belongs to the outer loop, right? The inner loop ends here. This is the outer loop ending point. See this one. So here I will put some other instruction. So this instruction actually is not part of the inner loop. Inner loop's instruction is only these two. Outer loop's instruction is this one, this inner loop plus this one. So since the inner loop is inside the outer loop, that is why we call this nested loop. So where is our nested loop? This is our nested loop. Is this a nested loop? No, because this loop is not covered by another loop outside. It's not. So it's the first loop. So that's the outer loop. And what comes inside that is called the nested loop. This is nested inside this. Okay, this part is nested inside this loop. This is the end. Suppose I write another loop here inside the I variable, this particular loop, then that will be nested inside this also. So basically OVR will have a nesting, and IVR can have another nesting, and that can have another nesting, and nesting can go indefinitely to various levels. Different programming languages will support different levels. Some programming language may have a limitation saying we can only nest so many, right? But generally, whatever number of loops we need to do is possible. So don't worry too much about that. So here, once we write our NS chart like this, here we have two loops. Remember, this is one loop. Okay, let's put the screen and the variables. Now, why two variable? Because we have a variable called OVAR, so I have one for that, and we have another variable called IVAR. IVAR is another variable. I could have put X and Y instead, but I just named it like this. Okay, so when you look at this, you should know this is the nested loop because it's coming inside of this loop, right? Nested loop is also always inside another loop. Then nested loop is inside that. Okay, and only thing is the outer loop always ends after the inner loop. Okay, inner loop cannot end outside this. Inner loop cannot extend beyond this point. The outer loop's endpoint, it can't go beyond that. It can come up to this if it wants, only that. Okay, all inner loops should end before the outer loop. Okay, or at the line where the outer loop ends. If you extend this inner loop IVR less or equal to OVR one beyond this point, it will be wrong. You can't write in a chart like that. Okay, always the inner loop should end inside the outer loop. If you put another inner loop inside this IVR also, that should end inside the inner loop of this one. IVR ending, it should end. It should start and end within this area. So like that, every nesting should go like that. Okay. So let's dry run this and see how this works. Start OVR, you assign one. So OVR is this one. You are putting one there. So one comes here. Then we go to the outer loops condition. Now, if this condition is false, you come out of this point, and the out point from the outer loop happens to be the end in this case, so it will end. But if this condition is true only, you go into the loop. The loop is up to from here to here. This outer loop area marked. I have marked the inner loop area and the outer loop area. So outer loop area belongs to the OVAR variable here, this condition. And also remember, the inner loop also is part of the outer loop's condition. So when I say this whole thing is outer loop, it includes the inner loop also. Inner loop part also is a child or inside the outer loop. Okay, so basically the outer loops part will be this. All these will be inner loop. See, the outer loop from here to here, whatever that is coming here all belong to the outer loop. To the inner loop, only these two belong. As you can see, it terminates here. Okay, remember, right? So we start